The following is my conversation with Felix Kuffner, aka Felix Testet Bikes. Felix is a Munich-based YouTuber who's become one of Germany's leading cycling content creators. Felix transitioned from racing BMX and working as the marketing manager at Fazua to building a successful YouTube channel during the pandemic, turning his passion into a full-time career in just 6 months. In our conversation, we'll dive into the ins and outs of content creation in the cycling industry, from building authentic engagement and measuring ROI to balancing honest reviews with brand relationships. Felix shares his perspective on what makes compelling video content and how he manages the logistics of running a review channel from an apartment in Munich filled with test bikes. This is the Business of Cycling podcast. Felix, thank you so much for coming on. It was great meeting you last week. I had heard about your business through a client of mine in Germany. They had mentioned your name. I had also spoken with a few different agencies that had mentioned, the opportunity that exists around video. And so I'm excited to sit down with you today and hear and kind of give people some insight. We have a lot of listeners around the industry, and so I'm sure they'll take a lot of value of how, video is sort of connected to the industry now, especially like we talked about. I guess one theme that I keep seeing is how media evolves, right? Media evolves in the business. And if we say 10 years ago, it was, more maybe paid magazines, events. Events are still very important, obviously, teams, but the opportunities have changed a lot. And so I'm excited about having you bring some insight into how this business works and kind of into it. So thank you for coming on again. Where does this podcast find you today?
Well, I'm in my home studio. Yeah. First of all, good morning, Wyatt. Thanks for doing this. It was really refreshing to talk to you in Düsseldorf during our breakfast.
Yes.
So this is where we met for the first time, but yeah, I'm also part of I listen to your podcast, of course. So I'm here in my home studio, which is part of my apartment. I live in Munich, and I think there are 8 or 7 bikes around me and lots of chaos, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this continues in the next few years.
This is
Hopefully
a nice
months.
sort of a microcosm of working in cycling, where it's just you gotta accept the chaos and just kind of push on.
Yeah. I mean, logistics is the hardest part at the moment. I have so many bikes that need to be picked up by the logistics, and I have to send them back and get new ones, and it's always hard to do this as a private person. But yeah, it's still crazy if the postman knows you with your forename, and they tell you, yeah, there's another bike, and they honk in front of your door, and they are happy as you are. Like it's Christmas every week.
So you live in the city.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And so
And
I guess we'll get into the background, but I'm just curious, what is a typical delivery slash resending back? What does that usually entail? Like, you'll be in your office, you'll be in your house, the courier will ring the bell, and do you have room in the elevator for this?
at the moment, we are living now in the base floor.
Oh, okay. Ground
So
floor. Okay.
yeah, in the ground floor. So this was a change we needed to make, because we used to live in flats with no elevator, and especially if you test cargo bikes, it's impossible to store them anywhere outside, and the bikes are getting more expensive and more expensive, and also landlords are not that happy with my job if I keep everything outside. So now the courier rings the bell, I pick up the package, I put it in my office, I ride the bike for a week or two, and then I pack it again, and then I ship it back. So this is normally it takes 3 weeks to create a video, or the whole process of creating a project with a client takes three weeks
And you were
normally.
mentioning, I asked you, I'm like, what is the main challenge in your business right now? And you said logistics. You said you
That,
literally don't have enough room to keep all
yeah,
the bikes that people want you to review.
yeah. So I would love to test a bike a day. That would be possible actually, but the bottleneck is unwrapping the bike, putting it up. Of course, testing needs some time, but still having someone there at the flat and just taking the bike when the courier is ringing the bell is sometimes hard to organize. Especially my girlfriend is also not at the flat all the time. She's working too, and we're spending much time outside. And at least once or twice a week, a courier is ringing the bell, and we are not there. So this is sometimes a little bit frustrating as there's so much more possible, but the logistic part is taking so much time and effort. But this is
And
something
and the
we're working
space
on.
and the
And the
space,
space, of course.
physical
Yeah, the
space. Yeah.
space. Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's get into the background. So, where are you from? Maybe tell me a little bit about where you're from, where you started, where you studied, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I used to live right around the corner in Munich. So I lived in a very small town and I started riding BMX race when I was 7. And this was where my passion for bikes and the bike industry also grew. And my dad used to work in a small bike shop. He helped there on the weekends, and we went there to Eurobike when I was 9 or 8. I was on my first Eurobike, and this made a huge impression on me seeing that side of the bike business as well. And then we also had the races where my dad used to sell BMX bikes outside of the back of our car and our trailer. And also, our whole basement was full of bikes. So this is pretty much the same as it is now. And then I rode race until I was 18. Then my passion for mountain bikes grew. And during the pandemic, no, actually, I used to work also in the bike industry, which was an important part of becoming also an YouTuber. I became the marketing manager for Fazur, which is now Porsche
Yeah,
e-bike.
Fatsua, yeah. So your dad had a bike shop, or
Yes,
he just
no,
worked
no,
part time?
he worked part time there. The bike shop owner was a friend of our family, and he worked there during Saturdays and helped.
Right, extra, make some extra money,
Yes,
and was it a passion of his as well?
yeah, he loved riding bikes. He had a Gary Fisher mountain bike at 26-inch. So he was one of the early adapters with mountain bikes.
And
Yeah.
so you always had bikes around. Your dad sort of, it sounds like it was a passion of his that he sort of kind of made room for in his life
Yeah. Yeah.
because he had a regular job, but then this was just one of his passions. So you're around it. You said you did some road riding for a while as well.
BMX race. Yeah. So
BMX
BMX race.
racing. Okay.
Yeah. So that was a very niche sport in
Yeah,
Germany. Not many people do that, but we have some. I mean, the core scene is kind of tight.
sure.
We are like 260, 300 people riding race in Germany, and we see each other on the weekends and race against each others. And some of us are getting really professional. And during that time, I saw that that is possible to make a career in cycling, but I decided against that and started to study sociology and economics in Munich as well. Moved to Munich, and then I started at Fazur as the marketing manager.
And Fatsua does e-bike motors.
They do the e-bike models, yes, yeah.
And so how much time did you spend at Fatsua? You kind of always wanted to be in the industry, and so you were like, okay, I'm going to try this. And how long were you there?
Yeah, actually, this wasn't never something I had in mind. I wanted to be. I never thought much about my career or a job, but they were looking for a mechanic, and I just came back from a 3 month vacation during Southeast Asia, and then a friend of mine was telling me that they were looking for a mechanic, and yeah, I applied, and they made an assessment center, and I tried to unscrew 4 screws, which they locked with this special glue for I don't know what's the name of that, but actually I'm a pretty bad mechanic, and yeah, I needed like 5 hours to unscrew those 4 screws, and in the end I was bleeding all over, and there was a big puddle of blood in the workshop, and one of the founders came to me and he said, Felix, I don't think we have a job for you. You're a horrible mechanic. I know, but I'm pretty good with marketing. Do you have anyone in marketing? I said, no, we don't have anyone in marketing yet. We are a team of 10. So they didn't have their first bikes on the market yet, but they had some clients, and also the production for the first bikes were scheduled for the next month. So they needed some help in logistics as well. So again, logistics, and I helped them. So they hired me and said maybe later on there will be a job in marketing. And then I helped them the following week in packing the motors into boxes, and then they were shipping it to Focus, to Pinarello, to Cube. And yeah, it wasn't like 4 weeks later, I was on my first trip to Italy, and we went to TTG, we went to Pinarello, and that was insane standing next to these guys. And after that, it was clear that we have to attend to trade shows,
Sure.
and we went to Riva, we went to all the trade shows in Germany, the smaller trade shows of our clients as well, in which we were training the dealers, and it was my part to organize that at the beginning. So I ended up in marketing then, and I did this for 5 years. And
What year are we talking here?
there was, I'm really bad with years, but it was the market entry of Fatsua, and Fatsua is now 10 years, and I think it was 8 years ago. So this was,
2017, 2016, somewhere
yeah,
around there.
maybe 2015 even. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's quite some time ago. And I left after 5 years, so 2020.
And you really
And
got to see the business grow. You got to see it, like you really got deep in the business, it sounds
yeah,
like.
there was an insane chance for me to get to know each other at a very young age. So when I started, I was 24, and I've been all over Europe. I've been even to Australia twice, to the US twice, to Seattle, one time to Reno, to Interbike. So this was a crazy time, and it was also so interesting for me to see how other companies do it, how other trade shows work, how the media works, especially, which was always the most interesting part for me. And yeah, with many of those people in the industry, I got really close friends, and it clicked from the beginning because we all shared this passion, and we all were kind of working together, no matter on which side of the magazine we were. Even from product sides, we were always trying to cover the small hiccups the system had, the motor system had, and the, the friends from the media helped us with that. But yeah, it was a great time traveling around the world, seeing my friends everywhere. A little bit like BMXing in my earlier ages.
It's a small world.
It is,
Cycling is a
yeah.
small world. So you made a lot of contacts. Being sort of on the motor side, you probably had a lot of contacts around the business. So how did you first begin? I mean, after Fadzua, what did you do?
There was a small stop in which I was leading the German marketing team for Dot, which is an e-scooter startup, also based in
Sure.
Amsterdam and Paris. And yeah, they had a really rough start from the beginning because the pandemic hit, and we tried to enroll this new business to the Germans during the lockdown, and it was really hard. So we tried to work on cooperations with restaurants and hospitals just to keep the scooters on the road. And yeah, at the end of the year 2020, I knew that wasn't something I could do for the rest of my life. And also I missed the cycling industry quite a lot. And I just started to create small videos on the side with my iPhone. And I filmed myself during some sessions with my BMX. I filmed some how-to videos with my enduro bike. I also filmed stuff like, yeah, with my gravel bike. This was a real change. So all the videos I've made didn't really get that much attention on YouTube. But once I started to film anything related to gravel bike, the clicks were insane in a very short time. So for instance, how to bunny hop video got 100 clicks overnight, and what is a gravel bike video got 10,000 clicks overnight. So
This
I
was in English or in German?
this was in German.
German.
Yeah.
So you somehow like what had you did you have an idea that you wanted to try this? Like you wanted to try to understand some of this stuff, or was it just something completely random that you just did?
I saw during my time at Fasur, I saw that there's a huge potential in creating content, which very with not a, I mean, I saw content creators that had like just an iPhone and they were reaching millions of people, like in the early beginnings of GCN, for instance, but also
Right.
in Germany, we had channels like Fit Bikes who were having a huge impact on YouTube. And on the other side, we're paying a shitload of money to magazines to host our ads. And on the other side, we were winning some special awards. And I always thought that this was weird and crooked, and we could not really find out what's the return of invest with like the classic media. And on the other side, it seemed so simple to create content with new media and very riskless as well. So I saw that there's a huge potential because there weren't too many YouTube channels out there. And I felt like YouTube is the social media platform which had the biggest, who was maybe from the content closest to a magazine. And so I tried to make it more personal as a magazine, but also as professional as a journalist would like describe a gravel bike. But of course, at the beginning, I didn't have any clue about gravel bikes, so it was just my personal opinion. And yeah, it seemed to be a good start during the pandemic because everyone was looking for content and everyone was kind of bored at the same time, so they watched a lot of videos. But the other side of YouTube is that there's a comment section, and the comment section can be very mean, but also very constructive on the other side. So I learned very quick from the beginning what's important, what kind of language is approved, and what kind of language might be too complicated for my audience as well. So there were huge chances in like improving the way I sound or the way I describe bikes or products at all.
So it sounds like you having that 5 years at Fazua, which for anybody that doesn't know, it's a German e e-bike motor manufacturer. So you were able to really understand the dynamics of marketing. So you're like, look, there's an opportunity here because brands are spending a lot of money to get this visibility, and the ROI is pretty difficult to measure. And so you sort of had an idea that there was an opportunity here, and it sounds like you were right in a sense that it was early in that process. And we can talk about how that has matured over time. Would you consider yourself one of the first or among the first, we'll say, relevant YouTubers in that was doing bike reviews?
No, definitely not. There
No.
were many before me. There were
Okay.
many before me, like all the big English speaking ones, like David Arthur and also Rob Wright's EMTB. They were way before me.
But in Germany, I'm saying.
In Germany, there were also some smaller ones, like the traditional blogs, like Rennrad News. I'm not sure if you're familiar with
Of
them.
course, yeah.
They had their YouTube channel before, but I think also the magazines had some YouTube videos here and there, but the the attention wasn't on YouTube for them and also for their readers. And there were also some lifestyle YouTubers which had a huge traction, but there were like it was a handful in Germany. So there were some before me, 5 to 10, I would say. And during the pandemic, many of us or many tried. Some are still sticking around, but many new are coming now. So I'm not definitely not the first.
But it feels like you were able to craft a language and a format, and you started making something work. Like, at some point, when did you say, okay, this is what I want to do, or this is working, or this is like, how long did it take before it was like, this is your only job?
It is, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I
And
started
how long before you went all in?
6 months,
Okay.
which was crazy at the time, but thinking about it now, I would not do it again. But 6 months after I uploaded my first video, I had, I think, 5,000 subscribers. And I thought, wow, this is going well. And I was self-employed then. So I quit my job and just started to make videos, trying to have a weekly schedule, trying to get interesting bikes to the channel. And I wasn't focused on the business side. of the channel. I was just trying to make the content
Better.
relatively better, yeah,
Yeah.
and relevant as well.
That's sort of like the Mr. Beast philosophy where he's just like, I just want to make it good. Like he's
Yeah,
very laser focused on making it entertaining, like with those metrics of watch time. Like what are the metrics that you consider like,
it's definitely watch time. So the same as Mr. Beast says, watch time is the most interesting metric. But Mr. Beast, of course, is like the Mozart of of YouTube.
of course, yeah,
He is the most, yeah, the way he creates with the approach he has on YouTube is so interesting and so I mean it's so inspiring for creators like me. And of course I try to copy that in or at least like get myself inspired by
inspired
some of
by
his
it. Yeah.
content. So the way he creates his titles and his thumbnails is something that we all can learn of.
Sure.
And how he uses text in his intros and how he composes the video is super interesting. So having these small breaks after 3 minutes in which the suspension is getting higher and higher and the viewer is really invested in the content is something I also try to implement in my videos in editing, but also in how I write a script. But yeah, sometimes that works out, and I see it also in the metrics in YouTube Studio. But also sometimes the metric that I'm when I'm working the first time with a client is the metric I'm looking for the most is how the conversion is. So sometimes a campaign has the target to make a special brand a little bit more visible in the German market, for instance, or in the market at all. And sometimes the target is to sell bikes. And it's really hard to target those both targets at the same time. So whenever we are creating a project, it's important on what's the target of the campaign and making sure we don't mix that up. I try to generate the right content for that client then.
So yeah, we can get into like kind of how you what the engagements are like, but one thing I wanted to underscore here is entertainment, how entertainment has changed in the last 10 years. It's
Mm-hmm.
insane if you think about it. You're 35, you said 34?
Yeah, 32, I think. Yeah,
32.
32. Yeah.
32. Okay, so you grew up with television and cable television, right?
Yeah.
And DVDs, and that was our entertainment, right? And I'm older than you, but we're not that far apart. And
How old are you, by the way?
I'm 47.
Yeah. You look
So
young.
thank you. And so I we grew up and we had television, we had cable, and we had magazines. And that's where you got your content and that's where you got your video and that was it and that was how you did it and that was the way it was. And when YouTube came out, we're 20 years on now, but when it started to really get mature about 12 years ago, the way people spent their time seeing content and consuming content and spending their time had completely changed. And not only for video, but also for audio, like radio. Instead of radio, people are listening to podcasts. Here we are. And so you as a creator were able to create a niche, you're creating content that sort of is part of the evolution of what media is. So it's interesting to say, like, a long time ago, there were movies and there were, not that long ago, but television where people spent their time and that's what they watched. And now they spend their time, on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, and on YouTube. And it's just interesting to look at it that way and how you are creating entertainment, just like entertainment was created, since the television or even before that, where it's like the concepts are similar, where you're trying to create something that's engaging and fun and interesting for people. And so just kind of looking at it that way, it's like you are now employed and part of a media production company, which, your company that is in the cycling business, which is super interesting to me. And was that something that you had sort of seen and you sort of deliberately went for it, or like when did you realize, oh, okay, now I'm part of this new world of media?
I think I didn't reflect that as deep as you were describing it right now, but I was always into video itself as a interesting format. I used to watch a lot of BMX videos. So before I was going to ride BMX, I was just hitting up. Google Video was a platform that I used a lot when I was like 15, 16, and all the big DVDs and also the VHS cassettes, they were online there, and it was fascinating for me to see pros riding just by googling the name of the pro, and everything was so accessible, which is for a small boy coming from a, a small village, was so mind-blowing. And I think that was something that's which still fascinates me the with video. So videos are accessible for everyone, but on the other side, there is so much room in YouTube or in the bike industry for different formats of video or different format of content even. And I never reflected that it changes, but as a content creator, I see that there are huge changes now in the last 5 years, for instance, on what I mean, especially with platforms like TikTok getting more and more popular and kind of destroying the average watch time for vertical content, for horizontal content. But I don't see that as a I don't see actually that that vertical content is destroying horizontal content at the moment.
That's an interesting take. And I don't get to talk about this much on the podcast, but TikTok is an absolute juggernaut in the way that it has grown, right? I mean, it's
Yeah,
huge. But it's a different type of content than what you do in
yeah,
the sense that it's a reel, we'll call it reel slash ticket. It's just 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds and you swipe, right?
yeah,
Where your videos, people they get a they get a drink, they get some chips, they sit down and they go for it, right? Thank goodness, because I don't see a ton. I mean, I don't see it seems more complicated to make money on TikTok and Reels
yeah.
than it does on YouTube. YouTube has created this ecosystem for creators. Does that sound right?
Mm, I mean, you can still make money off YouTube, but it's hard to make money directly with YouTube via Google. So that's
You
in
have to
terms of my
have
income.
you have to have
It's yeah,
other
yeah.
types of.
It's 10% of my income.
So can you tell me like overall what are the main sources of income from the content that you're making?
Yeah, when I was starting, so from the beginning in 2020, the biggest part, like 80% of it, were affiliate provisions, like affiliate programs I had with certain clients. That was huge back then because of I didn't get that much fee by the clients, like the bike in like the bike companies themselves. But I tried to animate my viewers to buy the stuff through the links to support the channel. And
Can you give
yeah,
people the really simple explanation of how affiliate works?
yeah, it's pretty easy actually. So you generate a link to the website, mostly the web shop of a bike company, and then they track your behavior on the website. And during the period, like mostly it will be 30 days, everything that you buy, there's a small amount that will lead or that will be guided to your pocket. So this will be
Right.
5% up to
You
10%.
get a commission on everything that is sold through that link over the next, like if they click on it over the next 30 days, something like
Right. Yeah, commission is the right word for
that.
that.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
And so initially you were like, okay, well, I can't charge people to make these videos because they're gonna be like, well, you know, who are you? So the way to, and then you said that the YouTube, you know, the pay from YouTube directly for the views is also even today only 10% of of your revenue. So
Mhm.
you had this affiliate tracking that you turned on and you're like, look, I'll make this video for you and you pay me 5% of whatever revenue is attributed to my video over the next 30 days. And you were able to make that work initially. And you
Yeah.
said that was
But
80% of your income initially.
yes, but does it just worked with those clients who already had working affiliate programs, and they are not that many out there. So I needed. I also pushed some of my clients to enable affiliate programs, but that didn't work all the time. Sometimes it doesn't work if they don't have a variety of products in their shop. So if they just sell bikes or just sell accessories, for instance, that doesn't work that well. And also if they are, I mean, now it changed completely. Now in this year we have affiliate turnover of in total it will be roughly around 35%, and 10% is directly coming from YouTube. And then there is yearly fees, which is also 15%. And then the rest is the direct fee I charge to, or I charge for review directly to the bike company. And I would love to make more affiliate based videos, but the hurdle I see is that many companies don't have affiliate programs enabled on their workshop already, on the website already. So this is something the industry might step up a little bit because they are running behind to other industries.
So affiliate marketing and affiliate tracking. Well, I know that bike brands typically, when it comes to direct consumer sales, are not that advanced compared to other industries, and it makes sense because there is sort of a necessary involvement for most customers with the bike shops. So, I mean, I think it makes sense that it's that way. But do you see it continuing to become more relevant for brands in terms of like being able to sell online?
Yeah, I see that I see a big shift in companies that sell small accessory parts.
Sure.
There's a platform called Avalon, which is now really they are hosting a lot of smaller bike related products or bike related companies as well. But for bike companies, I don't see a big shift at the moment. They are not investing that much at the moment. They're really keeping to their traditional direct to consumer websites. I mean, most of them are working probably great, and but still, this for smaller content creators, this could be a huge chance to create content for their brand to generate some extra money. But yeah, that's a win-win-win situation for the customer, for the bike company, for the creator, and also for the rider who is buying the product in the end, because he can also find out I mean, he can digest all the interesting content and can see what kind of content is produced to this bike. And if there's no content produced, the chance on being an informed customer in the end is pretty low.
So you typically, the brands that you work with are brands that typically are more sensitive to D2C content or D2C sales, or is it just, I guess I'm trying to understand like what is the typical relationship that really works? Like what sort of brands are you working well with?
hmm Affiliate is working better with direct to consumer brands like Rose, for instance. That's working really good. But also there are these huge platforms in Germany like Fahrrad XXL, for instance. They also have a affiliate program that is working quite okay. It's
Sure.
not working good for me. I would love those direct to consumer brands having their own affiliate program. That's something I push really hard.
Sure.
But this will come in the next years for sure, and they're working on it. And they are also, I mean, there's so much for them to do internally. But on the other hand, I'm not just a content creator. I see myself also as a online dealer. So I try to guide people not to just buy the product that I review in the video. I just try to guide people to the right bike that will fit them for a very long time. So if that would also include in a working affiliate program, I could do that even more without being that influencer-ish on just trying to generate sales on direct to or on brands that are not working directly to consumers.
So that's an interesting point. So it's a delicate balance because you have to be providing, you know, you want to provide a service to review these bikes,
Yeah,
but you also have to be credible in the reviews that you make.
absolutely. Yeah.
So what happens when you come across a bike that maybe it doesn't meet your expectations and they've just paid you?
Yeah, that's always that's the worst part of my job actually. So as soon as I unbox the bike, I, I I see if it would work or if there's some. I mean, if it's priced too high or if there's a huge disadvantage with it. I avoid that usually by picking very carefully what kind of bikes I display. Not just because I don't want to generate videos that are not fitting to my audience, but also I'm also riding those bikes a certain time, like a week or two. And if I have a shitty time on a bike, that's also not the best time for me. So I'm trying to find interesting bikes that have an interesting story to tell,
Right.
that are different than they need to differentiate themselves to other bikes because
So it's
I've
also
tested.
a selection. Like you have to be careful about the selection because if it's someone is just like, hey, put this out, but you see that maybe it's not the most innovative or it's gonna be difficult for you to create something interesting, you'll stop it at the beginning.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
That makes sense.
But but also, I mean, there is the right bike for everyone out there. So I also test those very cheap bikes. For instance, I had a Decathlon urban bike for 1,000 euros recently, and now I also had an urban bike for 8,500 euros from and Müller. But I also have those titanium special made bikes for 15,000 euros, and I have the alloy road bikes for 1,000 euros. So there's a huge gap in between
Sure.
those bikes, and
The
uh,
investment and the performance, right? And that's the
yes,
balance, right?
that's the balance. If I would just review just the best road bikes out there, I would end up with some specialized or Pinarello bikes, and I would not. I mean, I could do that, but that would be very boring to review.
Sure.
I
So
feel.
you're trying to find, so you don't have really any limits in terms of the type of bikes you review. You're not any specific category.
I did I did have more limits, but when I started, it was 90% gravel bikes and 10% road bikes. This year, it's a little bit more urban content, also because I'm privately more interested in long tail urban bikes. Also, e-bikes are interesting, especially in e-mountain bike sector. I feel like there's a lot to tell to people, especially if you want to digest the differences in the motor systems. But the main focus still is gravel and road, and then there's e-mountain bike as a third very important part, and then there's a little bit of urban and e bikes. That is also one pillar of the content.
And so when it comes to, you were talking about it a little bit earlier, it sounds like there's a few different decisions that you make when you want to make great content. And can you tell us maybe, do you have like a top three kind of ingredient list of what you think makes a great video?
Hmm. Yeah, first of all, I would say it needs to be interesting somehow. So every bike is it has a speciality that you have to find out as a creator, whether you're a journalist, whether you're a marketeer, whether you are an engineer. It, every bike needs to bring something new to the table, and for a creator, it's your job to find out what's this special ingredient, and that's the main part you create the content around. That's the main part for the title. That's the main part for the thumbnail. That's the main part for the intro, and also the red line through the video. And then on the other side, there must be something very valuable for a user, which is not just interested in buying the bike, but also who wants to learn something about bikes. So a good video also explains something to a viewer who might not be. I mean, he must feel like after the video, I really learned something today. For instance, I'm now reviewing a Merida Sculptura with a Shimano 105 Di2, and I'm going to explain the differences between the 105 Di2 and the Ultegra and the Dura Ace Di2, because many people out there, they don't really know the difference
Sure.
about. But on the other hand, you have to make it really on point. You have to, you don't have the video should still be very concentrated, but on the other, I mean, that's a small. That's a hard, you have to find the balance between explaining stuff around the bike, but also explaining relevant stuff about the bike. So that's the second point. And maybe the third point is you have to be also, you have to you criticize the bike also. So if you are saying that there's everything perfect on the bike, it hurts your credibility. So, and this is just more than I don't like the bar tape or the pedals are shit, which is usually which is something creators usually do when they are trying to not harm the relationship with their client. But if you find something that really is annoying on the bike and which might also be very personal, you should tell that. And that's maybe the third ingredient, which makes a good and also entertaining and valuable video.
Yeah, so you've got your viewers who are expecting you to be, you've got your reputation of being, and this is what we talked about, like you are the eyes and ears of the public, and you're giving them an inside view of, or a compressed view of what this bike's all about.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of a bike dealer. I think bike dealers are, they should be for the community that they serve, and an opinion, like a taste maker, right? They
Hmm.
go and they take and they choose the assortment that they like because that's their profession, and then people come in and they pay them to provide those insights. And so it sounds like you're doing something similar, which is a great service for people. You just have to be walking this fine line between, I want to try and provide a good service to my community, but I also want to, continue doing this job. And if you can't find interesting bikes, it probably gets to be a problem. But it sounds like you're not running into that issue. I mean, I look at big YouTubers like Marquez Brownlee,
Mm.
who, in your world, it's, you guys aren't that different. Obviously, the views that he generates are, of a whole nother
Yeah.
magnitude, but we're in a niche business, and that's okay. It's nobody's, it's not a problem. It's just we're kind of applying our skills to a niche. But I've seen situations where like Marquez Brownlee will absolutely destroy something like the Rivian that he had absolutely just annihilated. And that I presume that there are situations where you might have to get to that point, you know, and I can't imagine that's very very comfortable. But it sounds like you're able to also avoid that in a sense that you also want to bring things that are interesting to people. And probably, I don't know if necessarily in a niche business it really serves that much to do something like that. Who are some of the YouTubers that sort of are in your niche in terms of reviewing that you aspire to be like?
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. I also watch Marcus Brownlee's videos because of the quality he puts in there. So it always looks very sharp. The cameras he uses are reds, and he has such a nice studio. And also the amount of content he creates is very inspiring. In in bike testing, there is David Arthur, who's maybe my biggest idol in creating content. The output he has, and also the way the variety of bikes he is presenting and also testing and being authentic at the same time is really authentic. Although he's filming himself all the time, the all the videos I've seen, he was filming himself, which can be very hard. I've been there. And on the other hand, speaking about quality, I'm really enjoying the content that Rob Wright's EMTB puts out. And also he wasn't a filmmaker at the beginning, so he learned how to create the right videos and the right storytelling and the right how he edits, and also his studio, the lighting is perfect. So when you look at his first videos, it's amazing to see how far he's come and how perfect they are now. So this is also very inspiring. And yeah, for me, I'm also not a filmmaker. I also don't have that much clue of bikes. I'm just a bike rider who enjoys riding bikes. And I'm still on my way to get a more professional approach on creating videos. I'm still editing everything myself. Now we are filming everything on a big Canon camera with a special log profile, so we can also color grade in the end, which is also very time consuming, but super fun at the same time. And that's all part of the journey. And there are not many YouTubers out there who film with big cameras and do a lot of color grading. It's probably not necessary. I also, yeah, Burn Peak is something, or Everything's Been Done is also one of my favorite channels. Speaking about different channels, sorry, I'm jumping around here and there. But Everything's Been Done is a great channel. I also love the way he's storytelling. It's a little bit like Casey Neistat in the early beginnings.
Oh yeah, Casey
Uh,
Neistat is he was the absolute goat.
yeah, yeah. Where did he go?
It's a pity. It's a pity he stopped, but he did that. What was it? A year where he did a video every day, which
Yeah,
was just mind-boggling.
it's insane. The output and also the quality, which that was so ahead of its time.
You can learn a lot from that guy,
Yeah,
from
yeah,
all the stuff that he's done.
yeah,
Just how his storytelling, how he tells stories, and how there's always a hook and there's always a resolution. He has such reverence for the art. It's really inspiring.
yeah. He's definitely one of the goats out there. And in cycling, also the GCN content they are putting out now is also very good. I feel like somehow the topics they are covering now, they're not that much product focused, which is also refreshing and something to watch. And yeah, in bikes as well. So there's a small channel by pro rider Dennis Anderson, BMX pro rider, and he's creating videos every other Friday. And those are also so good. They are so authentic. They're so relatable, and they're so fun to watch. I would love to see something in gravel or road cycling as well, but this will come definitely in the future. Something very approachable, very cool. But yeah, we will see more of that definitely also in road cycling and gravel riding in the future.
So
Maybe there is something out there. Yeah. Sorry.
how do you feel about the market right now, like where you are in terms of like the your journey, in a sense that, all this stuff is like where you sit today is, it seems like you're doing well, but 10 years ago there were, executives at the television stations, or that were doing really well too. So it's like, is
Yeah.
this, it feels like we're still kind of on the uptick in terms of this stuff, but there's plenty of competition out there. How are you building something that's going to last?
Yeah. Yeah, that's always something that I'm thinking of. I mean, I'm riding a wave here, and I'm definitely aware of that YouTube is just here for maybe 10 to 20 years. Maybe it will disappear from one day of the other. If you look at TikTok and the politics that are around that platform, maybe something happens and the platform is not there yet, but then I can switch to another platform and create videos over there. So everything I've learned during the last years is something that I can transform
It's
to.
valuable.
Yeah, it's I mean, also not just creating videos, but being self-employed and being strategic about stuff, having a network and being able to keep
Reputation.
track. Reputation maybe also, but keeping track of all the back office stuff around here, writing invoices, paying tax, all this maybe boring stuff is something that is so valuable for every future endeavor. So I feel like being or having had the opportunity to being self-employed is something which I am the most grateful about during the whole journey. And creating videos and also being a YouTuber is something everyone can do, but having the platform is not. I mean, there will be one day and when my content will be maybe not that relevant anymore, and I try to avoid that. And maybe in 5 to 10 years, there's something else I can do in the industry, or maybe not in the industry. I don't know. I'm really open to everything. I ride this wave, and I try to generate interesting content. And I cannot force people to to watch my
No,
videos,
of
but as long
course.
as they do,
Of course, of course.
I'm enjoying it as well. But I'm the most important part for me of is still keeping the passion for cycling alive. And the the biggest danger is in when you work in something that you are also enjoying, you have to make sure that you are always keep the passion alive and not destroying this passion that leads you in the end like a North Star.
So getting
Yes,
philosophical on me.
Monday
Um,
morning.
no, but I guess so I'm self-employed. It's going to be 10 years at the end of the year.
Nice. Congrats.
And thank you. And it's been an incredible journey. I always I tried to be an employee and I was an employee and I think I was an okay employee, but I was always kind of, in English we say bucking, like a horse, a horse bucks and it wants to, it doesn't like what it's doing. And so I sort of was always kind of bucking for something bigger or different. And I guess, did you feel that way too? Because you did 5 years in a relatively small company, but you saw the
Yeah.
dynamics of an employee.
Yeah.
And I guess I want to talk maybe a minute about, because you mentioned that the entrepreneurial journey was obviously, to be an entrepreneur, at least I can tell my piece is, you do have to have a little bit of a safety net. You have to have, at least I had children. I have children, and at the time I had children, so I was like, I wanted to have something relatively um, stable before I left my job. You didn't, and so I guess, can you tell me a little bit about what that was like, and was like an employee, you saw that, and was that not something for you? Or I guess, how did you view self-employment versus employee?
Mhm. Yeah, I guess I have always felt the need to be self-employed. I had the luck to always work in small startups, and the thing with Fazur was they were growing from, I was the 10th or 12th employee when I started there, and when I left, we were 100, 120 employees. So the change in the whole in the whole company in terms of how things were done, how processes were designed, and how long it needed until decisions were felt. It changed from like click to 2 days or 3 emails, and I hated that. So whenever I want to create something, I want to do it right at this moment. And dot I also got the chance to work with a very small team, but we were limited in it during the time of the pandemic. And with as a YouTuber, when I want to change my logo, for instance, I can do it with a matter of seconds. When I want to create no video at all, I can also do that. If I want to create 6 videos a week, I can also do that. If I want to, I mean, I can change everything in a matter of seconds, and also can, I am, yeah, I'm the only one that I can blame if something doesn't work, and I'm the only one that is in charge if things need to work. But on the other hand, that's also something.
It's terrifying, but
It's
it is scary, man. You're making it sound too easy.
it can be terrifying, of course. I mean, speaking of children, I mean, from a business part, the first 2 years they were like suicidal for everything income related. So I made like, I think 10 to 15,000 euros a year without tax. And then my first son, we got our first son, and something needed to change. I came very personal, but I came back from the hospital after my girlfriend gave birth, and I went directly on editing a video to to put it out, because we needed the 300 euros I charged for video back then. And it was clear like 300 euros per video
It's
would
not
not
enough. Yeah.
it would not really carry our life now. So I worked on the prices a little bit, I worked on the formats a little bit, and I worked especially on how the channel was perceived, maybe also in the industry, directly or indirectly. And in the end, it worked out now, like 4 years or 5 years later, it worked out, but it wasn't an easy journey. But I think everyone can do that who has the persistency of keep it going.
That's
But
that's super interesting that you say that. So you were saying that before you had a son or a daughter?
a son, yeah.
Before you had your son, you said your focus was maybe lacking a little bit. But then once that happened, you were like, okay, this is no joke anymore. And it was
Yeah,
it was positive at the end of the day.
it was super positive in the end, because I mean, before that, I used some YouTube videos as well to generate more. I mean, if you generate that much content, which is resulting in applause in what term of whatever, like likes and views, and you feel a little bit
Engagement.
more self-esteem when you have more views. It doesn't matter anymore if you have a child. The self-esteem you get from YouTube isn't the real self-worth that you need to be a good dad or a good parent. So this changed how I perceive views, likes, and maybe also subscribers. And it gave me a more healthy relationship maybe to social media as well. And that changed also the content, and that changed how I could also live from YouTube.
Because you had a more realistic view on things or a more grounded view on things. I guess what exactly was it about that?
Yeah, the way I produced content before that was I didn't test bikes in every video. I also created like adventure content in which I was just riding around, and that wasn't directly sponsored. It was indirectly sponsored, but the value for the user was more, this guy is riding around and he's having a good time, and I watched this for 10, 12 minutes. Great. I don't create that kind of content anymore because it's hard for me to find sponsors I could find sponsors for that, but it's hard to generate a conversion with that content because it's not directly clear if someone would buy the bike just because I was riding around with this bike for
Sure. It's
for a
it's a
week.
less direct conversion. And so
Direct, yeah,
so when you had like this urgency of, family, it's like, okay, I really this thing needs to be a little bit more productive.
yeah, yeah. In terms of money, I mean, I was still creating the same amount of videos. I had the same work ethic, but I just worked around my pricing and the type of formats that still brings value to the viewer, but also value to companies that needs to invest in marketing.
Yes, necessity is the mother of invention is what they say. So it's like, once and I agree, like I I do my best work when I'm terrified, It's like you're just like when you really need to do something, it's especially as a self-employed person, like, and I think the older I mean, like I said, I'm older than you. You do get to a point where you can sort of keep that level of urgency, not like artificially, but you can, like, in my experience, like I've had periods where I do really well and then I sort of
Yeah,
back off
yeah,
and then you get punched in the face and then you have to wake up again. So you can get to a point where it's more constant. At least that's been my experience. So anyway, but
the hard part in the bike industry is with the seasoning part. So there's no budget during the last quarter of the year,
right,
and there's so much budget in the first quarter of the year, and you have to make sure that you plan ahead and to learn to maybe force some projects that are scheduled for quarter one to quarter three or quarter four in order to have a smooth yearly income. But that's
sure.
something you have to learn during the time. So yeah.
I guess you are a creator directly for these brands. What do you see in terms of like the content creation side of things, like brands? Can you speak about what you see in terms of like, aside from the work that you do
Mhm.
how can brands be successful with video in your opinion? I mean, have you thought about that?
Yeah, that's a super interesting question. So you see some, especially on YouTube, you see some brands that are doing a really good job in having established YouTube channels. Like Rafa, they have a interesting YouTube channel. They have all those movie-like YouTube clips, or Specialized, for instance. They are also
Okay, but
doing a really good job.
these are outliers though, Felix. Let's talk about the real brands, like the brands, like the average brands, like.
Yeah, most of them, they don't really take that much. I mean, they pay agencies to create a video that looks good, maybe in a meeting, and then it sucks viewing wise on YouTube. And then they put also money in advertising that. And then you see like huge clicks, like 100,000 clicks for a brand image movie that was like 2 minutes long, super boring, but perfectly produced. And it has 3 likes. So you see
That's
that
But
there's a gap.
I didn't think you were going to go that hard, man. Holy cow. Yeah, that's exactly what I see too. It looks good in a meeting.
Yeah.
It's yeah, no, yeah, I agree. It's because these brands like they sort of they're small and they really only have enough for like a couple, a couple big shots per year. And I guess that's kind of where I wanted to go was like I see that too, where it's like we're gonna do the drone shot up the Stelvio again, guys. Okay, great.
Oh yes. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, we have so much well-produced content that is aesthetically perfect. You have always
But
the
nobody
guys with
cares, and they've already
nobody
seen it,
cares.
and they
Yeah.
already saw it, and it
So
looks
as
great. It looks great in a meeting, and everybody gets the thumbs up, and then
yeah, yeah.
oh
He wears
man,
the white socks and the white helmet, so everything is stylistically perfect, but no one can really relate with the company because all the companies look
the
pretty much the
same.
same.
But I'm
But
worried that like okay, we can sit here and we can throw rocks,
yeah,
but
but I feel
what
like
what else are they supposed to do? Like I don't
yeah,
think brands have the budgets to do anything more.
I mean, you don't need a lot of budget. You need an iPhone and you sit together with one of the top engineers who maybe he
Yeah,
can be a little bit vocal, but he
yeah,
also can be shy.
yeah.
That
Personal
doesn't
stuff,
matter in the end.
personal
Like
stuff.
personal
Yeah,
stuff, you have
yep.
so much potential inside the company. And if you are just putting an iPhone on one of those guys and ask him why he's choosing to work with that special company for that long time and what he invented in the last
Wow,
year,
that's
that's
interesting.
that
That's
would
it.
be
That's it.
the perfect video, and everyone would be interested in learning. And even the less well produced, the worse the production is,
The lower the
like
production, the better it performs. I know. I
yeah,
know.
the more authentic it is. So this would be the real bravery that the companies would need to put out videos that are not that perfectly lighted, but also show authentic people behind the brand. And those this
Why
is
and why
something,
they do it.
yeah,
Reasons
this is
why.
something I try with my trade show videos. I always go to this trade show exhibitors
The,
and try
the
to interview.
product manager, the product
Yeah,
manager, they'll tell you everything about why they do it because there's always a
yeah.
story.
It's super interesting to learn more about the faces and the whys behind a dedicated person has in why he's working with that company and not, I mean, having a marketeer just giving you the random infos you could also get from their website. That's pretty boring. But yeah, hit me up, guys, if you want some advanced. I mean, I'm really into video content, but I'm not an agency, so maybe yet. But it's so easy to generate interesting
Oh,
content
I know.
with people that have a passion.
I know. So, well, thanks. This was awesome, Felix. I really enjoyed you coming on here and hearing your story. And I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it too. If people want to come and find you, where is the best place to find you? I presume it's on your
It's in YouTube, yeah.
YouTube channel.
YouTube, Felix
Felix.
Testet Bikes, yeah, or LinkedIn, Felix Kuffner, or Instagram, yeah, Felix Testet Bikes as well.
Okay. Well, cool.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks,
so much.
Wyatt. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was amazing. Yeah.
it was fun talking. And so you have the one son?
Yes,
Okay. What's his name?
Emil. He's
Email.
now
Okay.
2.5. It's almost
Con-
3. Yeah.
All right, man. You're a busy guy.
Yeah, it's fun. Now he's in the Kita, so in the China he's at the kindergarten. So I just brought him.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Felix. I appreciate your time today, and we'll be seeing you probably at Riva. Are you going to be at Riva?
No, I think I will be on the e-bike days Munich this
Okay.
time. It's on the same weekend, unfortunately. But have fun in Riva. Hopefully better weather this year.
Yeah, yeah, hopefully. All right, man. Thanks
See you
so
soon,
much.
Wyatt.
Okay.
Thank you so